Hey there. I am wanting to just share an experience with you that kind of for me shows why it's so important to be in groups, small groups, communities where our thoughts can be challenged a bit. And I'm going to give you a specific example. I was actually explaining to somebody why I believe that nonprofits need to be in the front of every transformation room. And when I say in the front of the room, oftentimes when there are issues in communities and the policymakers and the public come together, public policymakers or business people come together and say, okay, here's the problem, here's the solution. Nonprofits will be invited in, but it is rare that they are at the front of the room. I think about it like, you've got your Thanksgiving dinner, you have the grown-ups table and the little kids table, and it's nice to have the kids there, right? But it's not as common to have them in the driver's seat. And so I was explaining to this gentleman why I think it's really important for nonprofits to be at the front of the transformation room. Just beyond the fact that if you have them there, it can transform how policymakers, funders, and communities perceive and value the nonprofits with their respective systems. But more importantly, when you work in a nonprofit, especially if it's a hands-on nonprofit, you know what is happening on the ground, on the day-to-day. And it's that kind of information that can take the theoretical ideas about what needs to be done and actually say, okay, here's the theory, here's what research shows, but what is actually happening in this moment with these folks, right? Because every community is a little different. And how will that approach really impact, if at all, this group? And nonprofits can actually bring valuable information, but they're often not put in the front of the room because if you think about it in this line, nonprofits are where organizations go to, like the funding organizations and folks who have the resources say, here's the problem, here's the solution we want you to implement, if you will. You might tweak it a little bit. Here are the outcomes we want. Now go make it happen. They are the doers. But if you put them in the front of the room at the beginning, upstream, when you're actually looking at what are all the confluences, what's coming together, you might be able to find out some key things that would otherwise slip by, and a lot of money gets invested in places where it doesn't get the results folks are after. I understand that there's a whole other issue I'm going to speak to separately from this video, but I just want to ask folks what you think. If you are a nonprofit or a board member, are you often in the front, in the conversations, and in the transformation rooms where problems and solutions are being defined and decided together, or more on the outside where maybe your voice is asked for, but not at the time when you could actually shape strategy? So that's it for this question. And I'm going to come back. I have another one later that I want to ask folks about. So with that, I'm interested in your feedback. Let me know.